That's all a good sign. Hello, are we there? Can we see ourselves? Hello, the world. ECL part 3. That sounds like me, doesn't it? Let's make me my video. Can we hear myself? No, certainly we can't if we do it like that. Ta-da! Oh, I reckon I'm going to be able to hear myself now. Ta-da! Oh, I reckon I'm going to be able to hear myself now. Yeah, that's absolutely me, isn't it? Hello, everybody out there. Lorwyn Eclipsed, part 3. Anything to say since the last time? Not really. We played the event, didn't we? What was that called? It was called Eclipsed something or other. Eclipsed Realm. I didn't mind it. It was alright. It was kind of nothing. I didn't have to like... It was just another event where I play the same deck that I always play again. Which I don't want to like have to rebuild my decks all the time, but you know, I do find myself missing like coloured nodes. Closest thing we've got to coloured nodes at the moment is Who's the Killer, isn't it? But because we've got so many 3 coloured planeswalkers, and we're all playing the 3 coloured planeswalkers because we like the fact that they're 3 coloured planeswalkers, we often have to change planeswalkers in coalition events. Do you remember the olden days when there used to be like a red node and a white node and a black node and things? And you couldn't share your planeswalker between... Sarah's shaking her head. She says she doesn't like that at all. It just... Don't you miss the old days where we couldn't play the same deck over and over? I've been playing the same deck every single event for the last 3 or 4 years.
You also couldn't change your planeswalker.
Couldn't change your play. Well, yeah, that was bad, definitely, not being able to change your planeswalker. I mean, at the time, I kind of thought, well, that's kind of part of it, you know, because you have to kind of plan what you're going to do, you know, and if you make a bad choice. But, no. But I kind of don't mind it, you know, those old events that made you play different planeswalkers. Because I just didn't, you know, because I'm playing, I reckon I'm going to be playing a Minotaur now for the entire year. And then before that, I was playing Dakon for the last 2 years. And before that, I was playing Ral for the last 3 years. And it's literally only really standard rotation that ever makes me shift from one planeswalker to another. And I feel like, you know, maybe a bit more variety. Obviously, in legacy events, I'll play a different planeswalker. But we hardly ever play any of those for coalition events, do we? So maybe a little more variety would be good. Let's put this up on the screen and go and have a look at some Lorwyn Eclipsed cards. I believe the last card we looked at was, I checked just earlier and I've already forgotten the name of it, but I remember what it looks like, so that's okay. No, we don't want creatures, we want card name. It was something like... No, it wasn't those. Surely it wasn't those. Oh, do I have to go and look again? What's going on? Oh, right, yeah, okay, sorry, I'm with it. Yes, since you ask, yes, I have had my strong painkillers today, so, you know, things are going to be a little woolly today. But that's why I couldn't find the card that I finished on. It's because it doesn't exist. That's the reason. Elemental Spectacle was the one. Let us move on from here to... Emptiness. Oh, I got, incidentally, this thing. Oh, I can't remember. This! I actually got this in a booster. So, I mean, it doesn't seem particularly Stevie, does it? It doesn't seem, you know, I'm much more low high power straight away rather than high power in a while. But I've got it now. Maybe I'll play it. I'll let you know if I do. Back to the elemental. We're on Emptiness. Here we go. Elemental Incarnation. When this creature enters a battlefield. Oh dear. We're on to this again. 6 or more white gems refers to the first creature from your graveyard with mana cost 9 or less to the battlefield. I don't think anyone's getting excited by that. When this creature enters the battlefield, 6 or more black gems, a random opposing creature gets -4/-4. Yeah. High shit here. Encumbered Reacher, I mean, maybe even a little lower than that, frankly. Encumbered Reacher, this will be a merfolk. When this creature enters the battlefield, create 3 blight gems. When you match a blight gem, this creature gets +1/+1 permanently. A little better than some commons might be, but we don't care. End Blaze Epiphany. Deal 10 damage to target creature. Now, there are events that require us to deal 10 damage to a creature in a single turn sometimes. And I certainly have played Hidetsugu's Second Right recently, which does nothing except you point it at a creature and it does 10 damage. Oh, but I suppose the really important thing about that is I think you can point it as a player as well. This one you can't point at a player. So a little less functionality, even if we wanted to master it somewhere. Then, if that creature dies this turn, move the first X cards from your exile to your hand. Exile that creature's power up to 6. Okay, so that might be a lot of cards. Then each of your card in your hand gains 2 mana. 2 mana for each card gets 2 mana for each point of power it's got, maybe? Each card in your hand gets 2 mana for each card in your hand. No, each card just gains 2 mana. We don't care. Enraged Flamecaster. When you cast a card with base cost 15 or greater, deal 2 damage to the first opposing creature. This was like a little theme in a set a while ago. Don't think it was in the Lorwyn set though, was it? But I remember there being a little set of base cost 15 or greater. 2 damage to the first opposing creature. It's got reach. It's rubbish. Eventide Shadow. Here we go. Here's a masterpiece. Gain X mana. For 10 mana, we're gaining X. X is the total shield of supports in play. So, how many is that? Though the SHM filter lands have 5. That's a good start, isn't it? You're going to want to open with one of those, and that's a support with 5 shields. But you're going to want quite a lot of shield supports before this makes a profit in mana. There's more. Create 5 blight gems. Right. Destroy each opposing support card. This effect can affect vanguards. So we're destroying every opposing support and vanguards and gaining some mana for 10 loyalty. That seems okay. Am I going to play it? I don't think so. I don't know. It's all right, isn't it? My brain says I'm not going to play this over Demolition Field, but of course, you know, there are reasons why you might not want to rely on a Demolition Field. One reason you might not want to rely on a Demolition Field is because your opponent plays his Demolition Field before you play yours. So this is not a bad card. Not sure I'm going to want to play it, really. I mean, people have been playing, I've noticed, what's it called? Was that Fiery Annihilation? That one that deals like 5 or 6 damage to a creature and then you destroy 5 of your opponent's supports. I've even noticed that creeping into people's coalition decks. That was too expensive at 19 mana when they first printed it. They busted it down to 10. So we all started playing it in Colours of Magic, and it's very good there. This one, of course, you can't play in Colours of Magic. But yeah, this is all right, isn't it? And you never know. I mean, certainly my control deck that I'm playing usually ends up pretty quickly, what with the Chimils that I'm throwing into play, and then all the free cards and mana I'm getting from the Chimils and the Swarm Yards and the Mystic Gates. This would be gaining 20 mana in no time. That's a pretty good card. I don't like creating 5 blight gems, but you know, maybe there's some use for that. I doubt it. I think that is a downside on this card. But all you old people out there who've already discovered the good blight cards, which I still have not seen a one of, maybe you can see that as a positive. Not a bad card, that. Worth having in the tool bag, absolutely. Everstrike's Gift. Your last creature gets +1/+0 and gains flying. Create 2 blight gems. Yeah, again, they see. Bad blight card. When this creature enters the battlefield, deal X damage to target opposing creature. Yeah, rubbish. 5 damage to target opposing creature with flash. Whatever. This is better than some bad removal cards. Feisty Spikeling. The beginning of your turn, this creature gains first strike until end of turn. Yeah, just give it first strike. There are reasons. They do that in paper. Those reasons do not exist here. Figure of Fable. Oh, this looks like... Is this going to be one of those creatures in paper that turns into a bigger and bigger thing, and you keep spending a little more mana on it, and it turns into like a 2/2 and then a 4/4 and then an 8/8? I want a Figure of Destiny? Maybe it's one of those in paper. I don't know. Activate 2 white. This creature gets +1/+1 and first strike. If it's reinforced, gets +1/+1 and bravery. Activate 1 green. This creature gets +1/+1. If this creature is reinforced 2 or more times, this creature gets +1/+1 against preventer. Yeah, I reckon if we were... I mean, it sounds a bit like Figure of Destiny as well, Figure of Fable, doesn't it? So I reckon if we were to look at it in paper, it would be that kind of thing. Very much think we don't care about it in Magic Puzzle Quest. Fear Doc Core. Kindred Shapeshifter. Activate 1. Convert 2 gems to your Planeswalker's colours. Garbage. Flame Braider. Activate 1. What is all with all the activate 1s? Where have these all come from now? Don't like it. Convert 3 gems to your Planeswalker's colours. Yes, but on activate 1. Then, if you have an elemental card... do you know, I had a thought the other day. My thought was, if you're going to make like an activate 1 gem, like, how about a gem that like it's an activate 1 gem, but you can press on it yourself and make it explode? How about that? That's an idea. If you really want to put the activate gems on the board, you tap on it yourself as a part of the UI, and it goes boom and it blows up and it triggers. How about that? Try doing that as an idea. See if that works. Just activate 1 as it is. Rubbish. Then if you have an elemental card in your hand, convert 3 gems to your Planeswalker's colours. Yeah, but it only does that off the activate 1, doesn't it? It's converting 6 gems, but off the activate 1. And who wants a 9 mana 2/2 anyway? Flame Chain Mauler. Activate 3 red. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Flame King Guildweaver. Again, I suppose we should be appreciating the art, shouldn't we? I'm just going past a load of elementals at the moment, and I do like the art. When this creature enters the battlefield, create a gold token. Blah. Flaring Cinder. When this creature enters the battlefield, discard a card, draw a card. Blah. Flitterwing Nuisance. Fairy Rogue. This is flying a big waspy bee blue bottle thing. I don't know. When this creature... Now, this is a 3 mana... 4/4. Okay, maybe this is one of those blight cards that people like. I mean, those numbers are above the curve, aren't they? Well, we don't care that they're above the curve, but they are. When this creature enters the battlefield, create a blight gem. When you clear a blight gem, draw a card. Right, doesn't put any mana in it. When you deal damage to your opponent's Planeswalker, create a blight gem. Right. So it is a 3 mana 4/4. Again, those are, yeah, it's better than a 6 mana 2/2, isn't it? Much better than that. But do we care? And then all it does is draw some cards without putting mana into it. Which, you know, Jesse and Thief does that, but I think we've all grown past that now. Do you know what costs 3 mana? Overlord of the Flood Pits costs 3 mana. That's drawing 2 cards a turn and filling them half full of mana. That's what costs 3 mana. Flock Imposter. Well, this is a changeling. You can just tell it's going to be rubbish, can't you? When this creature enters the battlefield, return another creature card you control to your hand. We've had a few of these over the years. Over the last 10 years, we've had a few of these. I don't think they've ever been any good. We had one that cost 1 mana at one point, didn't we? I mean, if ever a card like this was going to be any good, it would be one that cost 1 mana, and it wasn't. And this cost 7 mana. Foraging Wickham. Oh, and again, yeah, okay. So this has haste. This will be something that you use to defensively save your creature from being shot in paper. I don't mean haste, I mean flash. This defensively save your creature from being shot in paper, but of course flash does not work like that, unless they've changed it. No, it doesn't. They haven't. Does not work like that in MTGPQ. Artifact Scarecrow. Activate 1. Again with the activate 1s. What's going on? Stop doing it. Convert 2 gems to your Planeswalker's colour. When this creature enters the battlefield, surveil 1. I don't mind this new... They've started printing a bunch of creatures at the moment with surveil 1 or surveil 2 on them. But they have to be good. Why not make a Harbinger of the Tides that's got a surveil 1 on it? Or a Conclave Naturalist that's got a surveil 2 on it. Yeah? And again, these are not great creatures that I'm naming, but they're certainly both a lot better than a 1/3 with activate 1, convert 2 gems to your Planeswalker colours, aren't there? And yes, we do still use Harbinger sometimes. We do still use Conclave sometimes. Niche cases. But these are old cards that see some play. Make a good creature that we care about, and then have that surveil when it comes into play. Don't just put it onto something for the sake of writing it. Formidable Speaker. He's got glasses. I'm slightly free. The fact that he's got glasses makes me think that maybe this is like an invitational card. I really don't know if they still have, winners of tournaments in paper designing Magic cards anymore, but it doesn't look like an elf from this set. What he looks like is somebody who won a paper MTG tournament and got the chance to design their own card and submit it. Like Solemn Simulacrum or Rootwater Thief. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, of course you do. No, we don't have any ideas, Steve. Your paper Magic references are 20 years out of date at this point, Steve. I'm an old man. When this creature enters the battlefield, you may discard the last card in your hand. If you do, fetch the first creature card from your library. That card gains half its mana, rounded down. When this creature attacks, gains 2 mana. Right, you don't need to discard a card, and you want to gain more than 2 mana. And you probably want it to have haste, don't you? So do all of that. Give it more power, 2/4. Yeah, don't make you have it discard a card. Yeah, it can fetch a creature and have half its mana. Why not fetch 1 creature out of how many? And also then when it attacks, gain some mana. Sort the numbers out, you'd have a better card. As it stands, not much cop. Gallant Foul Knight. When this creature enters the battlefield, all creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Any creature first strike. Yeah. Anyone made a Kithkin tribal deck? I doubt it. Gangly Stompling. Yes, okay. Again, changelings like the just randomly sticking Surveil on a card. You need to randomly stick it on a good card. I would really like to see some changelings that are also good creatures. And I'm not talking about Dragonhawks. I'm talking about the Harbingers. I'm talking about Waxen Shape Thief. Actually, that probably is... No, that's not a changeling. I bet that's a shapeshifter, Waxen Shape Thief. But I bet it's not a changeling. It's hard to think of like general utility creatures that are not rubbish. Write in. Let me know in the chat. You're all out there, I can tell. It's not just me and Sarah watching this video, because if it was, we could just do it. We wouldn't have to go on the internet, would we? We'd just talk to each other. Well, there'd be no point putting it on the internet. So I know there must be hundreds of people out there watching. Do you know what's been happening recently, which I find weird, is like people keep showing up and saying, is this Magic the Gathering, didn't there? Somebody in the last one did. Yeah. And we've had that a couple of times over the last few sets, I think. Most backfire as Lorwyn. And it almost makes me think, are YouTube doing something? I mean, I'm not saying they've decided to promote me and my 100 followers on my channel on the front page, but maybe they've got like some... Is there some kind of portal where people go and they look around and for their own niche interests and YouTube is showing them these things these days. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, in conclusion, Gangly Stompling is a waste of everyone's time. When this support enters the board, draw a card. Right, we need more than that. At the beginning of your turn, if you have at least 3 different creature types, yes, fetch the first creature from your library. That card gains 4 mana. I mean, okay. It could be worse. It's only got 2 shields. It could be worse. It's bad, but it could definitely be worse. Giant Fall. Where I don't even know where I'd put that on the shit tier. I think that gets to be like high mid shit tier actually. Yeah, do you think? It's hard for me to gauge non-creatures sometimes. But if I was mastering cards, no, but if I was mastering cards, I wouldn't have 3 cards that were the same creature type, would I? I might, because I might be mastering all cards from the current set all on its own. I think I might, yeah, I'll put that in mid shit tier. I think that gets to go all the way out of low shit tier, and that is high praise from me. Giant Fall. Deal X damage to target opposing creature. X is the power of your first creature. Then destroy a random opposing artifact support. Yeah, but I mean, we can bump up to rare, can't we? And then play with Fiery Annihilation and blow up 5 supports rather than 1 artifact support. So the fact that this is uncommon and we can play it in the Silver Jewel, we are not interested in. Gilfleaf's Embrace. When this support enters the board, prevent damage and trample until the end of your turn. Right, I skipped ahead in that, and I was looking, and I thought, do we get prevent damage permanently? But no, we don't. At the beginning of your turn, your creature with lesser base power, creature with the least base power, gets +2, +0 until end of turn. And it's got 1 shield. Absolute garbage. Glamour Gifter. When this creature enters the battlefield, your first creature gains Changeling until the beginning of your next turn. Then that creature's base power toughness become 4/4 permanently. You're not targeting it. You're not choosing which creature. So that's a bit irritating. The only reason I'm stopping and thinking of this is that making a stack of 1/1s into a stack of 4/4s is exactly what I like to do in Planar Chaos with Porcelain Gallery. But the fact that you kind of can't choose which creature you're doing that to. Porcelain Gallery, of course, just does all of your creatures. So it does often power down some of your more powerful creatures. But importantly for me, my stack of 1/1 tokens that I'm getting a lot of out of the Elspeth Vanguard, they all get bumped up from 1/1 to 4/4. And so I'm dealing 100 damage quite quickly with that bigger stack of tokens. So the fact that you can't choose what this does it to means I probably don't like it. I mean, you might want to have a go with it in Colours of Magic, I suppose, with your Thopter tokens, but I think we've all moved on and we're all playing Quintorius Can now. If you're not playing Quintorius Can in Colours of Magic, you should be. Glamour Might. When this creature enters the battlefield, disable target opposing creature until the end of your next turn. It's got flash. Might be nice if it disabled it permanently, though, wouldn't it? You know, that doesn't really seem good enough, does it? And the fact that it's common, doesn't. I know people like to say, oh, yeah, it's great. You have to make things less powerful because they're commons. Do you, though? Do you really have to make garbage cards that waste everybody's time by existing? Do you have to do that? Do you? Glen Elendrick Guardian. Oh, again, like the art. Very nice. When this creature enters the battlefield, create a Blight Gem. Again, well, I was going to say we're a little over the curve at 7 mana, 3/4. We're kind of not for a rare, are we? We definitely expect. We definitely have a 4/4 for 9 mana, wouldn't we? So we're not really above the curve with power and toughness. But we wouldn't even care if we were. When it enters the battlefield, create a Blight Gem. When you clear a Blight Gem, drain 3 mana for your opponent's hand. It's got flash. It's utterly irrelevant. So, yeah, mid-shit tier, really, honestly. Hello, Gideon. Glenn Alendra's answer. Okay, this looks like it's got some stuff on it. Can't have its mana drained or raised. Well, okay, that's not something that's written on it. That is a rather nothing thing. It's got flash. All creatures' base power and toughness become 1/1. Right. I mean, I don't. We've had a card that does already this in the set, haven't we? I don't like making things 1/1 when you could just kill them. Because they might be really dangerous. Like a 1/1 Dragonhawk is basically as dangerous as a 5/5 Dragonhawk, isn't it? And the same goes, I mean, a loot, I mean, that's nothing. Loot going busted down from a 1/2 to a 1/1. He doesn't care. Still scary loot, isn't he? So we'd like to kill them. They all lose each of their basic evergreens. Now, I'll tell you what, in paper, right, there's a card called Humility, and I wonder if that's what these cards are trying to ape, right? Card called Humility, that means that all creatures lose all abilities, not just basic evergreen abilities, not just keyworded abilities on icons, but it's like they have no text in the text box. Yeah? So if this said that, it said creatures lose all text in their text box, that would fuck up a Dragonhawk and it would fuck up a loot. And then we could start to have a conversation about this card. But I don't think we can. Just making everything a 1/1 and losing only basic evergreens, I don't think we care. We can have some fairy tokens, X a number of colours amongst cards you control. That's not really enough, is it? So that's kind of a rubbish card. Glistening Bairn. Oh, I love the art on this. Isn't that cute? That is very cute. I like it. At the beginning of your turn, your first creature gets +X/+X until end of turn. X a number of colours amongst cards you control. Yeah, okay, it's got 2 colours. Yeah, whatever. It's a 12 mana 3/6. Do we care? No, we don't. Gloom Ripper again. Do you know I'm really liking the art in this set? There's a kind of variety of styles. I mean, you can see it between that one and that one, can't you? And indeed that one. That looks like a bit of a Ron Spencer, doesn't it, to me? But I'm kind of digging the art in this set. When this creature, this is a 15 mana 4/4. This certainly isn't above the curve, isn't it? This is below the curve. 15 mana 4/4 Death Touch. Doesn't look like it does anything with that Death Touch either. When this creature enters the battlefield, target creature you control gets +X/+0. Oh, okay, so maybe it immediately comes into play as a 5/4. But you can have some more else. Then the first opposing creature gets -0/-X. Right, I'd really rather it got -X/-X. And even if it did, I still wouldn't care. X is the number of elf cards you control, including their reinforcements. Yeah, really? Really, it should just kill things. I've always, lobbied for cards that say -X/-X permanently. Always kind of lobbied for those things, but really, there's so few places where I would like that effect to actually exist. Really, what the one place I can think where I'd like that effect to exist is on a Vanguard that has some kind of reason for playing the Vanguard, because that isn't it, Like if Renan 6, that Vanguard, that I used to play to generate tons and tons of mana, if that had a permanent -X/-X effect on it, that'd be okay. Because it's kind of a rubbish effect, but it is something we want to import from Magic. Anyway, in conclusion, Gloom Ripper sucks. Gnarlbark Elm. Again with the Activate Wands. This must be somebody new. They've employed somebody new at the company, because even Clive... even Clive wouldn't do this. I mean, Clive thinks he's clever. I mean, does he think he's outsmarting me by writing Activate 1 on these cards? I don't think so. Kevin knows better than to do this. I think they've employed some new designer, and they don't know how bad Activate 1 is. Create a Blight Gem, then target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. No, rubbish. Treefolk Warlock. Goatnap. This is a reference to one of the cards in the original Lorwyn. They used to catch everybody out. in the pre-release. I probably talked about this before. In the pre-release, there's a card, little goblin called Goat Napper, and it says gain control of target goat on it. I think it's like a 1/1 for 1 in paper. And nobody played it because everybody thought, well, what's the point controlling goats? In the pre-release, this is a sealed format, yeah. But, you know, smart people. I was not one of the smart people, I'll add that. They figured out that you could steal your opponent's shapeshifters. And, you know, in paper, stealing a 2/2 flying creature that did nothing else, that was okay. At a pre-release, that's okay. Anyway, what have we got here? Gain control of target opposing creature cost 10 or less till end of turn. Doesn't even give it haste. Oh, it does give it haste. Oh, Jesus. If that creature is a goat... I mean, they're a bit stuck, really, with the flavour of that, aren't they? Importing it in from paper. But they're not stuck. The thing that they're not stuck on is they could have given us some shapeshifters that didn't absolutely suck. And they did. All shapeshifters suck. They all suck. I mean, that's not true, is it? Because there's that 7/7. What's that thing? Changeling Titan is probably the one that doesn't suck. But then, that doesn't cost 10 or less mana. Rubbish. Gold Meadow Nomad. I mean, do they really? Oh, they do. I was going to say, do they even import every single card from paper these days? But I think that's the point of having larger sets, is I think they started doing it. You know, for a while, they'd make these sets 200 cards, and they just randomly not put 100 cards from paper into the set when they imported it into MTGPQ. And they were just happy with that. It just saved them a bit of effort, you know. Frankly, those other 100 cards that they didn't bother to print would have been shit commons that nobody would have cared about, so nobody really minded. But I think these days they do actually import every single card from paper, don't they? Don't they? I think they do. I don't know. Gold Meadow Nomad. This card is exiled from your graveyard. Greater Lorwyn Kitkin token. Wow, well, that's clearly not worth playing with. I mean, it's probably one of those cards that's going to trigger when you exile it from your hand or when you exile it from your library. It might be. We're all still watching it. Everyone remembers Eyes Everywhere, yeah? That, like, said when the card got exiled, yeah, it triggered and did a thing. And it was obviously, Sarah, obviously only intended to trigger when it was exiled from play.
That's not how it was written.
She's right. It's not how it was written. But that's obviously what they meant. But for a while, it would do it if you exile it from your library or from your hand. So we're always watching out for cards like that that might that might not quite work exactly like you might expect them to read. Is that a good way of saying it? This clearly not one of them. Goliath Daydreamer, 8 mana 4/4. When this creature enters the battlefield, exile all spell cards from your graveyard. When this creature attacks, return a random card from your exile to your hand. If it's a spell card, it gains full mana. I mean, that's kind of not good enough, is it? For a mana filler giver, because we're getting a completely random card. And if it's not a spell, then it does not gain any mana. So I don't think that's good enough for a mana filler giver. I mean, maybe all you all out there don't exile a lot of cards. I'm one for just drawing tons and tons of cards and just exiling shit all over the place, all the time. Like, you know, my Overlord of the Fliplet is drawing a lot of cards every turn. You know, my Chimil is giving me a lot of cards with mana every turn. I always find I've got loads of things to exile from my hand. That's not good enough. I don't like the way that, like, the cheaper cards they're making of these cheaper versions of mana filler givers, they don't make them gain less mana, they just make them more swingy. You either get full mana, you either get a completely free Golden Wish, or you get sod all mana in them. And I don't think that's how they should be making these cheaper mana filler givers. I think they should be making things more like, you know, Swarmyard, for example. I think basically what I'm saying is they should make more lands. They should make more conversion lands. They should be a cornerstone of the game. Desert is a travesty. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Grave Venerations. Is this one of the blight cards? When this support enters the board, create 3 blight gems. Oh, we've seen this one already. No, it's not. There's 1 or more blight gems on the board. Yeah, this is a reanimation thing. We've seen it already. It was in the Elite pack. Gravegill Scoundrel. When this creature attacks, this 1/3 Vigilance Merfolk, another Merfolk you get gains unblockable, which doesn't mean anything. Grave Shifter. When this creature enters the battlefield, return the first creature card from your graveyard to your hand. To your hand for 9 mana. I mean, you can imagine this in paper being a perfect... This probably costs 4 mana, doesn't it? And it's a 2/2, and it puts... Well, probably more than that in paper. Maybe 5 mana. Because like a 4 mana 2/2 that's also a changeling puts a card in your hand, doesn't pay for it in paper. That'd be all right in a pre-release. I think there'd be no reason you ever wouldn't put that in your deck. But, yeah, not good enough here. And one of the better rubbish changelings that we've seen. Still garbage. Great Forest Druid. I mean, what the fuck is this? That's just like a perfect storm of everything that's bad, isn't it? Ew! Gristle Glutton. Again, love the artwork. Activate 1. Fuck off with the activate 1s! What's going on? I'm sick of these activate... There's activate 2. Activate 2. No! No, activate 2 isn't much better. So activate 1, anyway, this has got activate 2, Grub. Now it was Grub's command that I quite like. In fact, I'm sure we're going to get to that shortly. Yeah, we saw this in the Elite pack and we quite liked it, didn't we? When this creature enters the battlefield or transforms to this form, return the first goblin creature or goblin support from your graveyard to your hand. Now, you'll notice it does not say goblin spell. And in fact, even if it did say goblin spell, you know, you would still be playing with another goblin in your deck, wouldn't you? Because you'd be playing with this goblin creature. So every so often, you wouldn't get the Grub's command that you wanted. You get a bloody Grub Storied Matriarch instead, another one of those. And you have to play that and try and get the Grub's command. And maybe that would fetch another one and you have to play that before you got the Grub's command. Don't like it. Activate 2 red, transform this card. What have we got here? Have we seen this? I feel like we've seen it. Greatest Shadowmoor, when it transforms, Greatest Shadowmoor Goblin, when it attacks, reinforce. Yeah, this was in the Elite pack, wasn't it?
Yeah.
As I say, I think Matt saw something in this that I don't see in it. And I wonder if he's mistaken, or maybe I am. Don't know. Grub's command we liked. Probably a mistake to make it. Not too powerful. Just Greg might end up being really irritating with it, especially because, you know, they printed Mystic Gate and Graven Cairns, and those things were a mistake. Gut Splitter Gang. Apparently I've mastered this already. Beginning of your turn, create a Blight Gem. If you can't, you lose 3 life. I was playing this in the Commoners' Cup. That's why that's been mastered. I played that in the Commoners' Cup. No, I wasn't playing 15 mana for it. I was dragging out with Grist. Because Grist is too good! Harmonized Crescendo. Target creature gains change. This is a 16 mana spell. Target creature gains Changeling until the end of turn. Okay. Draw X cards. Those cards gain half their mana. X is the number of Merfolk cards you control. Right. So that you can see what they tried to do here. Yeah. You're turning one of your cards into a changeling, which means it counts for X. So even if it wasn't a Merfolk, it would. It doesn't work though, does it? I mean, nobody's playing this card, are they? Are they playing this card? Maybe, I don't know. Some kind of Merfolk tribal. Have we seen any kind of Merfolk tribal thing? Harbinger of the Ties is a Merfolk. No, I don't think so. I don't think anyone's playing that. I mean, maybe it's good enough to be like high mid shteev. I don't know. Same card. Heirloom Ante. When this creature enters the battlefield, this 10 mana 4/4, create a Blight Gem, then Surveil 1. Again, you know, yeah, they're throwing Surveil 1 onto cards, put it onto relevant cards we care about. Hexing Squelcher. Now, I believe this is making, well, this is angling to make a mess of the commander format. But I can't actually remember what it does in paper. So, never mind. This is a way, in commander, this is a way of like forcing through your win conditions, because I think it stops your opponent countering your spells or something. So might be making a splash in commander. Don't know if it actually is. Of course, those things are irrelevant in MTGPQ. While this creature is on the battlefield, other creatures you control have hexproof. I guess if you want your creature, I don't care, because, you know, I've got plenty of ways of getting rid of creatures that don't involve targeting them, but I guess some people might want their other creatures to have hexproof. Maybe all creatures have hexproof. How about that? Which doesn't make it any better, really, does it? In the grand scheme of things. High Perfect Morcant. At the beginning of your turn, if you control 3 or more elf creatures, proliferate. Now, does that increase... What does that... Well, let's read what it does, because I can't remember. When you proliferate, gain 1 loyalty. Then your buffed creatures get +1/+1. And your Vanguard supports get 1 shield. Read the next chapter of each saga you control. Okay, so I kind of don't think we care about proliferate, do we? Proliferate is like different in paper because you like put an extra token on things, don't you? In fact, don't you put as many extra tokens on things as there are? You can do it once to every permanent in play that's got a token on things. I think that's how proliferate works in paper. Never at all relevant in MTGPQ. And again, not here either. The end of turn, if you control another elf creator, create 2 Blight Gems. Yeah, but then don't do anything with them. So, rubbish. Hovel Hurler is a giant. It's quite big, 12 mana, 6/7. Yeah, high mid-shit tier at least. When this creature enters the battlefield, or at the beginning of your turn... Oh, that's why it's so big. It's because it has to get worse. They couldn't give us a 12 mana, 6/7. That's uncommon. Don't be ridiculous. So it's actually a 5/6. And then before it attacks, it's a 4/5. And then it slowly dies. So, rubbish then. Another target creature you can draw +1/+1 flying until end of turn. Rubbish. Illusion Spinners. This has got affinity for fairy. Not sure that we care. We're only giving hexproof to this creature, but this creature doesn't do anything. So we absolutely, definitely don't care. Impolite Entrance. Target creature for 13 mana. Too expensive. Can't create gains haste, trample, and berserker. Right, not even anything to keep it alive for 13 mana. Then draw a card. That's nice, isn't it? Thank you for letting us draw a card. Bit of a scary artwork, though. Do you not think? You're gonna have nightmares about those, aren't you? Yeah, I might. Impulsivity. Here we go. Bravery and Persist. 7/5, 13 mana. Those are high shit tier stats, absolutely. When this creature enters the battlefield or deals combat damage to a creature. Yeah, we've seen that wording before in this set, haven't we? And given that blocking doesn't happen naturally, it often just means it's only going to trigger when the creature comes into play and at no other time. Return a random card from your graveyard to your hand. If it's a spell card, it gains full mana. I don't think so. I mean, I guess it might be something. How are you all out there doing with the Loop Hero deck? I've been playing that every so often. There's definitely 10 cards you can put in the Loop Hero deck. Yeah, you can play with Phenomenon Investigators, Quantum Riddler, you can play with Diluvian Primordial, you can play with Bright Glass Gear Hulk, you can play with Genesis Wave. What's the blue one that copies a creature when it's in play? Heat Shimmer. Anyway, my point is there are definitely 10 cards for this deck. And I mean, I guess if you go off on turn 1, you've cast a spell like a Genesis Wave, none of your creatures have died yet, so there's only spells in the graveyard. Then you pay this for 13 and it brings you back a spell from your graveyard and it fills it full of mana and you keep going off. But if you've been listening, if you've been taking notes, there are already 10 cards you can have at this time without impulsivity for the Loop Hero deck. And in fact, you know, I've got a version for Brokan, that's red, blue and green. I've got a version for Guff, that's white, red and blue. So there's more than 10 cards you can put in that deck. I don't think you want this one in that deck. And outside of that deck, just play with something better. It's got bravery though. Iron Shield Elf. Activate 2, discard a card. Oh, it's the worst of all possible worlds, isn't it? Activate 2 is bad. Discarding a card is bad. Then this creature gains prevent damage until the beginning of your next turn. Here's something you can do. Just give it prevent damage. I mean, yeah, okay. At uncommon, all right. I accept that's you can't just at uncommon just have a 10 mana 3/3 with vigilance to prevent damage, because it would just block everything, wouldn't it? And that's a bit high. I mean, you could do a thing like that. That card could exist at Mythic. That's just like a Subsunan, isn't it? But which we have. But you can't make that card exist at uncommon. But what this is rubbish. That's what that is. Jubilation. Okay, that's freaky. That is freaky artwork. I am freaked out. When this creature, now this is Persist and Trample, 13 mana 5/5. When this creature enters the battlefield or deals combat damage to your opponent's Planeswalker. Do you see how that's better? This one, when it deals combat damage to a creature, but has nothing that makes it damage a creature. Whereas this, when it deals combat damage to your opponent's Planeswalker, that's more like what we want. We want it to trigger when it comes into play and also every turn from then on. That is when Cityscape Leveler triggers, isn't it? When you play it immediately and every turn from then on. So that's what we want. But your creature get +3/+3 and trample every single turn. I mean, that's very high shit tier. Does that get to be God shit tier? That's probably God shit tier, isn't it? It's very high shit tier. Yeah, even though it's a thing, it's quite big, it's triggering every single turn. The thing that it's doing is just +3/+3, you know. Yeah, I don't really care. It's not even really big enough. Just +3/+3, even to all your creatures every turn, is not really big enough for planar chaos, in my opinion. Maybe some of you all disagree with me out there. I know Gideon's playing with Vigor. It's kind of Gideon. Vigor's not really getting big enough for my liking. Fast enough. It's all right in planar chaos, but I'd like it to be getting bigger. Anyway, yeah, Jubilation. Don't really like it. High shit tier. Keep out, destroy an opposing enchantment support, or even an enchantment opposing support, apparently. I mean, that does not deserve to be 10 mana, does it? That needs to be like 2 mana, and then... See, you know, it's got the surgical thing about it where you go, you know, I want it to pick out the support from my opponent's array of supports, the specific one I want it to blow up. We might have used this in a couple of years ago, for example, to blow up a Painful Quandary, yeah? You might have put it into Colours of Magic deck. Because if you just put in a Conclave Naturalist, it wouldn't have picked out the enchantment, would it? Anyway, definitely not good enough. Kin Binding. What have we got here? At the beginning of your turn, create a Lorwyn Kithkin token. Just one. That is piss weak for a 12 mana card. We've got a rare, haven't we, in Puzzle Masters 2 that I believe puts 3 1/1 tokens into play every turn. I want to say Muster the Departed, I think that's what it's called. And then it also does some other stuff with enlisted gems as well, doesn't it? So we're putting a single 1/1 onto the battlefield every turn. We're also, let's just check, when a creature enters the battlefield under your control, your creatures get +1/+1. Right, so in fact we're putting a +2/+2 into play every turn. It is doing all of your creatures, and it is doing all of your creatures permanently. But honestly, I'd rather have... There are many reasons I'd rather have a Muster the Departed and put in 3 1/1s rather than this that puts in a 1/1 and then pumps all of your different creatures. Number one reason is because I'd like Muster the Departed to be more powerful just on its own. If you start the game and you're just playing the one card, either this or Muster the Departed, you haven't got any other creatures. Unless you're Pajami, I suppose. Yeah, okay. So there's more raw power. Number two is I bet this does the really irritating slow thing. Yeah, that Kylox's Vault Strider does. And does, here's a big crawly streamer. That creature can have +1/+1. And now here's another big crawly creature. And now your second creature can have +1/+1. And is he really going to do all three of them? Yeah, because I'm kind of illustrating, do you see, how long it takes to do this. Here's a big crawly streamer. Yeah, here comes the airplane into the tunnel. And now your last creature can have +1/+1. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons why you really don't want to play this card. Go and find some better ones. And if you're not limited to rare cards, which of course you're not in the vast majority of events, go and get Elspeth. God, do you remember when we had Vanguards that were playable? That seems like such a long time ago now, doesn't it? I mean, we haven't even had Vanguards for the last couple of sets. Might not get any in this set either. I mean, the reason why we didn't get Vanguards in the last couple of sets is because they're from paper sets that were really old, presumably. So Lorwyn did have Planeswalkers. That's not true. Lorwyn did have it had the Lorwyn 5 Planeswalkers. It was in fact the first set that Planeswalkers were introduced in. But what they did in Puzzle Quest is they made those into Planeswalkers, but we didn't actually get any Vanguards. Anyway, it's been about 8 sets since we've had a playable Vanguard. You know, maybe Nicol Bolas was further back than that. There's a Nicol Bolas that blows up supports, I suppose. That might be like 6 sets ago or something. Make some good Vanguards, please. Vanguards, it's nice having Vanguards with 3 different abilities. But like I say, you made 6 sets of worthless garbage ones and then 2 sets of not having any more. And I kind of miss Vanguards. Kindle the Inner Flame. Target creature gains haste until the beginning of until the end of turn. Sorry. Then, if you behold an elemental, reinforce that creature. Yeah, I mean, in the abstract, this is a really shit version of Heat Shimmer. Yeah, and I don't think there's ever a reason to play it. Really, is there? 11 mana. You know, it's Colours of Magic. Are you playing that in Colours of Magic? No, you're not playing that in Colours of Magic. Kinsbale Aspirant, Affinity Kithkin. How's that Kithkin tribal deck looking? You want to play that yet? Yeah, with Affinity. Affinity's kind of requiring you to play with lots of Kithkin. Doesn't have to be cards, it could be Kithkin token. Excited about that Kithkin tribal deck yet? When another creature enters the battlefield under your control, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Yeah, whatevs. Kinskaya Sentry. He's drawn some pictures of goblins so that he knows what to shoot at. I think that's what's going on there. Is it a he? Could be a she. Can't tell. 12 mana, lifelink, first strike, bravery, 2/2. When this creature attacks, return the first... Oh, we like these kind of words. Return with base mana cost X or less. Return the first creature with base mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield under your control. That creature gains haste. X is the number of creatures and creature reinforcements you control up to 11. I mean, I feel like if you're going to build the Kithkin tribal deck, that you probably want to put this into it. Build it. Somebody build it. Gideon, do you like building really crap tribal? No, I'm sorry. That was a really insulting thing to say, wasn't it? It's just that Gideon's the only person I know who's here today. Somebody who's a deck builder out there, build a tribal deck and post it somewhere, because I really want to see what the best tribal deck that people can manage would look like, because it looks like it's terrible. This is probably one of the best Kithkin cards to put in this deck, and it's still a rubbish card. In it? Yeah. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't go in the Kithkin tribal deck at all. Maybe that's kind of the thing. But you need to have a stack of tokens as well. You need to have this as one of your slots. You need to have a stack of tokens as well. Yeah? To actually make X big enough to reanimate something. That only leaves one more slot. It's terrible, isn't it? Kirol, attentive first year. Okay, are these all off to... Are these people, maybe they're all off to Strixhaven? Maybe that's the point. Where is Strixhaven? Is that on a plane? Is it on its own plane? Where is Strixhaven? Somebody tell me. Kirol, attentive first year. This is 10 mana 3/3 with lifelink. When you use an evoke ability for the first time in your turn, the first card with evoke in your hand gains 5 mana. Just way too narrow. Kith Keeper. What the fucking hell is that? Jesus Christ, that's a scary thing. Look at that. Oh my god. Activate 1. Yeah, of course it's bloody activate 1. 15 mana 3/3. Activate 1. You'll read what that did. I don't need to dwell on it. Kolrath Mystic. When you cast a spell or support card, this creature gets +2/+0 and gains vigilance until the beginning of your next turn. Right. Have it be permanent. Go on. Why not? We've not had one of these cogs in a while for the combo players to enjoy. Yeah, the thing is, the combo. I feel like the combo players aren't having these cogs anymore, are they? They're just playing with Loop Hero decks. When you have each individual card that you play, go and fetch the next card and pay for it, and then all of the creatures that you put on the table are all those types of things as well. I mean, I feel like this is a type of combo deck, this kind of card that every time you cast a spell it gets a bit bigger, that probably died out about 5 years ago now, didn't it? Kolrath Zealot, 14 mana 6/5. When this creature enters the battlefield, draw a card. Yeah, right, whatever. I'm really not seeing the value in affinity in the slightest. You know, right at the start of the set, we saw affinity, didn't we? I say we. I did, you know, and I thought, well, maybe if you can make everything free, maybe you can do some quite powerful things. I'm not sure you can, though. Looking at this, not sure you really can, though. Lamentation, here we go. This is a masterpiece. What have we got? 15 mana 5/4. When this creature enters the battlefield or dies, destroy the first opposing creature. So that is straight off, that's an expensive removal spell, isn't it? Because we're paying 15 mana. It comes into play, it kills something untargeted. So that's already too expensive for a removal spell. Well, there's plenty on the back end of this, though, because you get 10 life for starters. That's all right. And then when it dies, it destroys the opposing creature. Then it comes straight back again. Yeah? Because it's got persist. So you play it, it's got 15, it kills something. Play it for 15 mana, it kills one thing. And when it dies, it then kills 2 more things. But of course, you have to make it die. You get 10 mana when it does. You get 20 mana when it dies and it comes back. So life, not mana. Dies and it comes back. And then, of course, you get a little extra kicker because presumably when it dies again, even though it's got finality, it's still going to count as dying, isn't it, the second time around? So it's not going to go to the graveyard with finality. So, I mean, you've got to call this high shit tier. Maybe even this gets into god shit tier, but I'm not sure we care particularly. I don't know, maybe the life gain, maybe some people will like the life gain. If you like the card, have a go with it. It's even got Death Touch. Does that matter? I don't think that matters in the slightest. But it does kill a lot of creatures, but it's a little hard to get those 2 extra creatures it destroys, isn't it? Because you've got to kill it. Not an awful card. Lasting Tarfire. How are we doing? Now, we've got over halfway through the set now. So I think we should probably call it a day. Should we do... Well, I was going to say 2 more cards. I know what this does, though. Let's do 2 more cards and call it a night for the night. What time is it? Gone 10. Yeah, we're doing slightly shorter ones now. Slightly shorter parts of the set review. So we'll do a couple more cards and we'll call it a night for the moment. And then we've got, because we're at part 3, aren't we? We're at part 3. That means we can split the other half of the set into 3 parts. 6 parts is a lot for us, but like I say, you know, doing marathon 2-hour sessions is not really ideal for me these days. So Lasting Tarfire, when you create a Blight Gem, here we go. Is this it? No, it's not. When you create a Blight Gem, deal 8 damage to the opposing Planeswalker. So I could really see this being the Blight card that everyone was talking about, yeah? And you were just throwing Blight Gems into play, dealing 8 damage a time to your opponent's Planeswalker. That sounds okay, isn't it? And then you get to the last sentence that says, this effect can only trigger once per turn. Surely not. Surely this is not part of this Blight deck that everyone seems to like. And Lava Leaper, we'll make this the last one. While this creature is on the battlefield, all creatures gain haste. I mean, that's how you do it, isn't it? None of this activate 1 bollocks, yeah? Not, you know, your first other creature gains haste until end of turn. None of that nonsense. All creatures gain haste. That's how you do it if you're going to do it. I still don't really care much about it, but, you know, that is how you do it. 10 mana, 4/4, all creatures gain haste. I mean, that gets to be high shit tier, doesn't it? I mean, maybe not much more than high shit tier. We'll see what the rest of it does. At the beginning of your turn, increase both Planeswalkers' red mana bonus by 2 until the beginning of your next turn. So you're the first person to take advantage of it, aren't you? It's not like you put it into play and then your opponent gets some extra red mana. I mean, it's kind of nothing though, isn't it? Increase your red mana bonus by 2 is kind of nothing. So mostly it's just everything gets haste. Maybe that's enough. You know, we're in these days you can play with Space-Time Anomaly to fill your graveyard full of creatures. You can play Raise the Past to put all of those creatures into play. Maybe it's enough that you play 2 large creatures and this, give them all haste, boom, you've hit your opponent in the face for lethal. So, yeah, for that reason, it's probably worth bearing in mind if you're a combo deck builder. So yeah, I'll give this a pass. I'll call it high shit tier, and I give this a pass. As I say, I just especially like the fact it just goes all creatures gain haste all the time, and none of this activate one bollocks. Let's call it a day then. Thank you very much for being in. Thank you, Gideon. And we'll look to do part 4, maybe end of the week, maybe Thursday, maybe Friday. It's Monday today, isn't it? Yes, I think it is. Thank you. And that will be it for tonight. Streamlabs stop. Bye-bye, everybody.